In 2012, Block Party released their fourth studio album, 4. Yes, it was a terribly original title. I didn't get to experience the band's rise even if Intimacy came out right as I started buying their albums in bulk on iTunes. 4 was the most grounded of all the albums after Silent Alarm. It was modeled to take them back to the sound they created 7 years prior. Weekend doubled down on lofty theming and emotional depth, and Intimacy focused on electronic cadences and while both of them have their high points and forever bangers, they aren't amazing albums on their own. 4 was rebirth, and just like a supernova, it collapsed the band for good. Too many genuine artists with clashing personalities gave us enough great music for a lifetime. Then their fucking corpse spawned one of the most worthless albums in the history of music, and haven't been able to make anything with the new lineup other than a live version of Silent Alarm. Pathetic scabs, but I'm digressing. You can ask my first college friends how important 4 ended up being to me. I got the CD from Meyer instantly. I'd blast it in the background when we'd play Catan. What was my custom logo in Black Ops 2? That's right, the easiest album art I could replicate. It was even the first block vinyl I bought, which was easy considering it was the absolute cheapest new one in my collection because nobody cares about it. Some people even look at it as a formality, an album between Keeley's 2 solo projects, but it was a return to form the band needed. It was a peak in fandom for me. No album made me feel excited to follow a group that closely since, I guess, Rob Thomas's Something to Be? And even then, it was just about the hits. It's not an album I'd really still defend, not like Nickelback's All the Right Reasons.
I guess it wasn't really right.
Not only has that feeling not been present prior to 4, after has been even more disappointing. Franz Ferdinand got worse with every album after Tonight. Queens of the Stone Age albums have some brutal deep cuts that share time with some of the best music ever made. I'm looking at you, Songs for the Deaf. Paramore wasn't an act whose albums I really cared about until After Laughter/Casey, so while its release did make 2017 better, there's no prior excitement. Gemini being a letdown of the decade is an understatement. Sacred Hearts Club was fine. Blink got old. BNL was obsolete 4 years before 4. Pitbull can't make an album to save his career. Fucking Super Bowl's in Miami and they don't have Pitbull. What kind of horseshit is that? Kanye's Lost. Two Doors albums got exponentially worse one at a time, and I can go on and on about many other bands and artists who've created in the last 8 years to a muted amount of excitement from me. There have been phenomenal pieces of art, but a level of anticipation and joy and blinded whimsy is something I haven't seen since 4. High Road by Kesha is the best album of her career. It has a high chance of being the best album released this year, and for the first time in 8 years, it is an album I am excited about and satisfied with. The whole Kesha fandom thing for me has been a sharp grower. One of those albums she released kind of recently hit me pretty hard, not sure which one that was. There was this roommate in college who was all Kesha all the time, and being that this was the time that the new Chili Peppers album was as pop as I got, I thought liking some random pop chick was absurd. So I basically went from laughing at her with Todd, to liking Talk and Die Young with Embarrassment, to falling in love from Rainbow. Got me a couple of vinyls to celebrate a blossoming fandom, and got mildly upset in the lack of Warrior, but I'll explain that to be a blessing in a moment. Anticipation for High Road was at an all-time meh. The singles weren't much to hurrah about.
But I don't wanna go to heaven without praising hell.
This was fine.
I don't do that dance.
This was a bit less, but I came to the same conclusion for both. Slot them into an album, they'll fit just fine. Hell, I forgot the release date entirely. That's how underwhelmed I was. So golly was I surprised when I got a Google notification that just said, High Road, Kesha. With nothing better to do, I immediately let it wash over me. Rainbow, the first time, I thought was great. Animal, pretty good. Warrior, less. Cannibal, a little better. High Road, best album of her career. I understand this is bold, and I understand the hits that laid the groundwork. We've seen TikTok, Die Young, Praying, lead singles to rival the best songs of the entire decade from one person, followed up by a single with Big Frida. Rough. That can't say good things about the album. And yet the singles are the worst part. It's backwards to what I usually like. The best way I qualify how much I like a given album mirrors how many songs I like on Spotify. The way I use the site is mostly just listening to the same songs in the liked songs playlist that I usually grow and shrink based on what I find. So here's the distribution of Cash by albums. 16 songs. Take that, 10 Paramore songs. It's distributed as follows chronologically. 3 Animal, 1 Cannibal, 1 Warrior, 3 Rainbow, 1 standalone single. And 7 from High Road. This album has 7 songs I consider to sit alongside some of my favorite songs to never stop listening to. Like, here are the totals of all the bands I mentioned earlier. Block Party, 4. Franz Ferdinand, 0. Queens of the Stone Age, 3. Macklemore, 5. Foster the People, 4. Blink-182, 2. Bare Naked Ladies, 6. Pitbull, 2. Kanye West, 3. Two Door Cinema Club, 4. I hold all of these acts very highly, and they can't even match one Kesha album. Mind you, the Kesha album that peaked at 7 as its Billboard 200 debut, fell 132 spots the following week, and gone after that. Just not as good as many of these legendary pieces of art. You may be asking, Ducky, you're a Kesha expert. What the hell makes this album better than any of the others? Well, I'll tell you, voice in my head. It's about focus. She's a pop star, so the expectation is highly consumable, highly catchy, shallow.
Is this what you want? Fuck you.
Very shallow. Lyrics don't matter.
I'm all fucked up in my Sunday best.
No, seriously. You start getting hung up on lyrics, Party at a Rich Dude's House isn't going to hit the way it should.
Where's my coat? Where?
Except for that. Greatest lyric she's ever had. Setting the scene for High Road?
The animal inside.
Animal was pretty good. It's a vinyl I definitely don't regret owning, and like many acts' first albums, it feels full of ideas and has something to say.
Ain't got a care in the world, but got plenty of beer.
Kesha likes to have fun. Sex, parties, boys. Before you judge, remember that Lady Gaga's first album is about the same thing, and I think Animal is better. Third best of hers. Listen to it. It's nice. Unlike... Cannibal is your quintessential sophomore slump. The hits were pretty lame, the deep cuts are forgettable, and the whole album feels like Animal just went on for too long. I like Grow a Pair, that was about it. This album started to display a pattern. The songs felt a little impersonal. Pop music is generally this way, but not in Kesha's way. It felt more like... maybe somebody was more in control than she was. I'd skip this one, and while we're on the subject of lacking control, for as much as I will stand up for Die Young and Come On, Warrior is Kesha's worst album because the natural pop progression is really kicking in by now. I couldn't take a single thing away from this album other than she's out of songs to make, so instead, the songs all sound like shitty dance remix versions of themselves. It just sounds overproduced, like she's featuring on all these songs made by some DJ who wants the credit. Yeah, I know his name, let's not give him the power. Basically, Warrior is Fucko's fault, and the note we get to hold on to for Kesha's career for 5 years. She was a fad, and the royalsification of pop made her obsolete. How do you come back from that?
I hope you're somewhere praying.
I'll tell you how. You come back with the most personal album of your career. Praying may have been the single, but multiple songs are more revealing than most artists are willing to touch.
Don't let the bastards get you down.
Hell, it might even be my favorite country album of all time.
I wanna be your favorite.
Fine, calling it straight country isn't true, but it's sure as hell rootsier than anything she's ever done. It proved that it didn't always have to be about the shallow party. Trashing the club beats was a refreshing change, and maybe going as quote-unquote folksy as this was overcompensating. But it's definitely her most consistently good LP, as long as you turn a blind eye to Boots. Although, continuous listens make it seem like a cheap gimmick, almost a novelty, but the high notes still held it to her highest quality. Until today.
I'm taking a high road, I'm high as fuck and these assholes.
High Road is a menagerie of every Kesha style she's ever attempted, but perfected. The acoustic country-like song, shameless boy wooing, corny experimentation, serious grounding, even the dumb club-like crap from Cannibal and Warrior. Every flavor at its best, like she was saving these songs for a time without some dick splash pulling the strings. These songs fit a new era in her career, like a true rebirth with a dropping of the dollar sign. The whole album has a vibe that runs from tonight to summer. This is Kesha at full recovery, and there's many little things that make this peak Kesha, like...
Can you feel it? I can feel it.
If you haven't listened to it yet, Tonight is the perfect introduction to the album. As the album's worst song, it will let you know if you want to stick around for the next 15 songs or not.
Bitch, we going out tonight. Bitch, we going out.
Oh, okay. If you can handle elements like those, the album is gonna go just fine for you. Like Kesha says.
Life is fucked up, but we're here for a short time, and we're here for a good time. So I'm taking the high road.
The album has the feel of a person just wanting to move forward, not overly concerned with anything other than making an entertaining block of songs.
I'm so excited to present music that can make you feel amazing.
I'll dance for you, Kesha. Honestly, Raising Hell is my least favorite song says a lot. Like, that's not that bad of a song. I just hate Frida. The album just has way too many good...
You're the tragedy.
You may have noticed that my list of saved songs does have a single in it. What changed my mind?
Only do my own.
Who tuned that snare? Because it sounds like they got the head on and didn't do anything more. And yet, it's captivating. It's a detail that picks up a fine song and makes it great. Those are all over the album, like group vocals, random style shifts. I love Kesha x Carly Rae. I love Brian Wilson.
I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did.
Yeah, but I mean on Kesha's album. Maybe even an Eastern European jam. This album goes for it, and instead of flooding it with overbearing club shit, it's more of a singer-songwriter. And that brings us to Birthday Suit.
I wanna get you in your birthday suit.
It is March. I am definitely declaring Birthday Suit the best song of the year, definitely because I'm not going to be able to talk about it as a hit. Proclaimed best song of hers, Praying. Is it comparable? What if I told you it's the polar opposite? It's a celebration of her shameless tendencies that caused her original backlash. I want to see you naked. That's it. And never has something so simple sounded so enchanting.
Baby, you get better and better the more I get to know ya.
There's hooks for days.
God, I wanna get you in your birthday suit.
And the song is about Kesha's boldness, mixed with a touch of real infatuation, and somehow emotionally captivating. I've gotten so attached to a song where Kesha equates sex to a video game pun.
You got a Game Boy, boy, wanna race me?
And the synths are magical.
I know we're both thinking.
If I can get you to do anything from this dumb video, it's listen to this one. Then go down there in the comments and tell me how I'm wrong for liking the wrong shit. At least I agree with you. High Road is a legendary return to form that Kesha was unable to do under certain management. To see her career blossom into genuine artistry has invigorated my excitement for new music in an age of my old bands crumbling. It sucks it comes at the cost of nobody caring about this album, but I'll keep you guys posted as long as she keeps going. High Road, 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. See you again in April when Future Nostalgia drops.